What's going on, my cracked heads and cracked headettes? Welcome to the Crack Soccer Podcast, episode number 30. Dirty 30 today, fellas. On today's podcast, this week, the international break has taken center stage. The U.S. national team and Mexico with some friendlies, as well as the rest of the world, gearing up for the 2026 World Cup. But that's not all. The MLS is back this weekend, and every single game is a do or die on the road to the playoffs. And then the controversy that's got the soccer world in shock. Did Luis Suarez really deserve the punishment that's been handed down to him?
No.
Or is the legend being wronged?
He's being wronged.
Buckle up, because we're bringing the heat today. All those topics were being discussed and many more. This is the Crack Soccer Podcast. Bang, bang.
Get some more light in this room.
Boys. Today's Monday, September 8th. How we feeling? How we feeling after the weekend?
Ready. I don't know who else does this, but I know us three do it. But aside from soccer, fantasy football has come back. And I will tell you, it has ruined my weekend. That's all I'll say.
Hey, all I'm going to say is there's just one winner here amongst the three of us, and it is your boy, and I am feeling good. Welcome back. Yeah, happy football to you guys, and happy football as we wrap up our season here. But
Dude, I know. I'm absolutely cooked in my fantasy this week, but it is what it is. It's week one. We're okay. We'll get through it. Do what we got to do. Don't lose faith.
Jamar Chase.
He's gone. He's done. Cincinnati Bengals, write him off. They're dead. Yeah, man, that's obviously very fun to keep track of with the NFL season. But we're gonna kick it off into our MLS, our soccer conversations here. You ain't gotta show them, man. You ain't gotta show the people. Okay,
who did you
ain't
beat?
gotta know me.
I know.
Jeez, this guy.
I gotta make myself feel better because of what's about to pop up on this screen right now.
All right. The cracked leaderboard. Ooh, boys, it's getting tight up in here. It's getting a little hot. It's getting a little heated. Yeah, you're definitely a little bit behind there, Fern. 73 for our third place, Fern, and then myself and Lopez were. You sound like that chicken that you press and let go of.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyways, 196 for myself and then 190 for Lopez. Bro, something crazy happened with the picks. Easy, what happened?
just know I see the future.
There,
your boy called it. What were you gonna say, Reyes?
What's the X-Men that can't he see the future or something? The guy in the wheelchair?
Xavier.
Yeah, is he like the Dr.
X,
dude?
He's got mental powers, so he's a little
like
special. So
call you Dr. X after this, bro. That's what I'm saying.
You know what the worst part of it all is? I was gonna say Austin was gonna win 2-1, and I'm like, nah, they're gonna win 3-1. So I added an extra goal last minute when I sent it, and I wish I didn't because they actually did win 2-1.
Damn, that would have helped you a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. And then to make this, this is kind of where it's a gamble, where obviously I picked Austin to win, but that was the game I had picked to end 3-1, so now I don't even get a point for it, even though I called the right winner. So this week I only got 1 point because the other two were ties, and I didn't.
Gotcha. So you missed one.
Shout out to St. Louis and FC Dallas for being mediocre, but sorry.
I thought you were going to say ChatGPT because you asked it.
No, I straight up called it. On my mama, bro. I try to avoid AI as much as possible right now because I'm trying to use this right here. Use the
brain. Use it while you got it.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Well, solid, dude. You're catching up easy, so a couple more of those, man. You're definitely in business, man. So we'll kind of keep y'all in tune with the leaderboard, with our picks. If y'all agree with our picks, let us know. If y'all don't agree with our picks, let us know. Again, we're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and the YouTube.
Okay.
But anyways, we'll go ahead and go into the next segment here, into the correct performances of the week. Fern, why don't you kick us off, my guy, with your player game and your pour one out for the week.
Dang, I was not ready for that.
Oh, sorry, I had
I'm
you on
always
there.
ready. No, you're good.
Okay.
That's my fault. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't ready. But I am ready because I'm picking Owen Wolf, the Wolf Man. I think if I remember correctly, let me double check. I believe he's only 20 years old. Yeah, he's 20 years old, starting as a central midfielder for the Austin FC Matthew McConaughey team. And I feel like this week was a good week for the MLS for people like us because it forced me to not have to watch Messi play and kind of look at other teams that I would necessarily not usually, like keep a track of or look at players that most of the time I'm not going to look at. And it had me looking at Owen Wolf's stats. So in the last 4 games, he's had 5 goal contributions. So he had a goal and an assist in this past game against Kansas City. And then the game before against the San Jose Quakes, he had 1 assist. And then the 2 prior to that against Montreal and FC Dallas, he had a goal in each of those games. So he's actually been playing really well for Austin FC. And I just had to give him a shout out for helping Austin win this very important game because, like we've said, a lot of these games are trying to get them into the playoffs. So now they're 6th with 41 points ahead of Colorado and San Jose and the Timbers by 1 point to 6 points, and they're also 1 game behind San Jose and Colorado, which are the 2 on the cusp where they'll have to play the play-in game and see if they can even get into the playoffs. So that's looking good for them. And yeah, I mean, that. What can you say? He's a young man, kind of like we've been talking about in the MLS. Try and keep this young talent, produce the young talent, keep him here. So shout out to my boy Wolf. He's part of the Naked Brothers band. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but I believe that's their last names as well. You guys know who that is?
No.
You don't know who that is? Oh my gosh. Have you guys ever seen Hereditary?
No, I haven't.
You've seen Hereditary? And you know the brother that's driving and the sister hits the pole? So
that brother, the movie for me.
That brother, it's okay. It happens in the first 5 minutes of the movie. That's not
bro. You should watch it. If you have not watched this movie, it is it is a weird kind of horror movie where I felt it in my core. I was like, oh.
But so that guy, that actor, the brother, he is one of the Wolf brothers, and he was in the Naked Brothers band, which was a Nickelodeon show. And you watched the Death Note live action movie?
Yeah, I've seen I couldn't finish it. Yeah,
that's the other Wolf brother. So, fun fact. There you go.
There you go, bro.
But let me double check.
He sure knows his Nickelodeon actors, but he doesn't know ball, bro, by his 170.
No ball knowledge.
Fuck off, Mike. Oh my gosh. No, okay. I was just double checking that I didn't take anybody's game, which is kind of hard because there's literally 5 games this
you probably haven't taken mine.
Yeah. No, I did. I actually I'm gonna go to the college ranks for my game this week.
You're such a liar.
Oh, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, it's so hard for me to pick though, and I believe that's why Reyes did what he did because these games were all kind of mid. I'm not gonna lie. Probably the best game was the Chicago Fire versus New England, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go into the LA Galaxy versus the Houston Dynamo game, where you just felt like the Houston Dynamo were going to make it out with 3 points. They weren't the better team per se, stat-wise, but they were winning the entire game, and this time, instead of losing the game in the last minute, the LA Galaxy came in and tied the game up, which at this point, we've already talked about. It's not, these points don't matter to them. They just want to screw everybody else over at this point. The pettiness of people in California getting to them. And shout out to that game. Again, not very many good games. My pour one out. Which, see, look, I do this every time. I freaking forgot. Let me freaking...
You keep forgetting,
You guys gotta remind me, dude. I have one job, guys. There's one job, and I always forget. But my pour one out was actually not going to be a game because I feel like I could pour one out for most of these games. My pour one out was actually going to be for myself for, like I said, switching up my score on the Austin game and screwing myself over, as well as only getting 1 point for this week. So pour one out to myself. And did you hear that?
Yeah, he cracked one open.
Oh, there we go. So shout out to all my performances, all my poos. I'm the biggest poo of them all. Like Lopez said, he says I'm trash and don't know ball, so I'm gonna go cry.
Dang, bro.
Fern, I love you.
Harsh. Nice, brother. Well, perfect, bro. Thanks for those. It's a pleasure. Always fun to kind of hear some of your takes, my guy. You want me to go next? Yes? Okay, I'll go ahead and go next into my correct performances of the week. To start us off, I'm going to go ahead and go with my player. In the 16th minute of the Dallas versus, oh man, who did they play again? Was it? I think I know who it is. I'm just double checking. Yeah, St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah, for sure. So in the 16th minute of this game, FC Dallas
They didn't play
gets a red
FC
card.
Dallas?
No, FC Dallas.
I know they didn't play. St. Louis didn't play FC Dallas.
Yes, they did.
They played the Dallas Burn.
Oh. Dude, they did. Those are some nice jerseys, though. Man. Pretty nice. Yeah, but anyways, in the 16th minute of this game, the FC Dallas got a red card. Bing, 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 bing. And it was the goalie. The guy's name's Michael Golodi. You know, red card. Boom. 16th minute. You're like, dude, our goalie's out. We're down a man. This is going to suck. In comes the super sub of Jacob Jackson. The guy was lights out. Unfortunately, the second he came in, they scored a goal on him. I believe they scored a goal in the 32nd minute, so he had a little bit of time. But basically, like, he came in, they scored a goal on him, he gets scored on, which, you know, it is what it is. But then the guy plays lights out after this, man. 11 saves on the day. And guess what? Another crazy stat for you guys here. Do you guys know about how, on average, how many shots a team has during a soccer game? Around how many?
32.
So you guess 32,
10,
okay.
10, I would say around 10 shots.
Shots on like
average?
shots
Yeah,
in
just
general, shots on goal.
Yeah, 10.
Give me like 12.
Yeah, it's around 10 to
Holy
20, you know,
just saw.
depending. But in this game, St. Louis recorded the most amount of total shots in any MLS soccer game in history with 42 total shots in this game.
God damn.
And they tied. So
That's St. Louis for you.
that's St. Louis for you, man. That's St. Louis' season this year. Let me tell you, really insane. But, you know, hats off to Jacob Jackson coming in, doing what he had to do. You know, keeping the Dallas, the FC Dallas team, you know, somewhat in the running still for the playoffs, as well as giving them a game or a point for this game. You know, hats off to him. Ton of saves. Obviously, a solid backup there. So awesome to watch.
Can I switch my pour one out to my boy Michael Collodi, bro? This guy got, not only did he mess up, he had to sit there and watch as this man took his job in real time, you know? And, oh my gosh, that sucks. He had to sit in that corner chair in the freaking hotel room while the guy took his job. So that's crazy. So shout out to him.
No joke.
Pour one out
No
for my
joke,
boy.
dude. Exactly, dude. It was kind of nuts. But yeah, man, it was a crazy game for sure. Yeah, peep those unis, man. Those are some nice uniforms for sure. Okay, cool. Going into my cracked game, a little bit different here. Obviously, you know, not a lot of soccer games, MLS games this week, only 4 of them, and 2 of them were ties. So, you know, it is what it is. But I wanted to shout out the NCAA college men's soccer games. There were 2 very good games this last week. We did have a very awesome game against West Virginia and George Mason, 2 ranked teams at the time. West Virginia was ranked number 6th. George Mason ranked number 22nd. And then West Virginia just hammers them 6-4, 10-goal game. Super cool to watch. Obviously, if you're at this game, you're excited to see that many goals go in. But West Virginia did kind of put it away somewhat early. You know, at some point, I believe it was like 5-2. So they definitely, you know, kind of had it out for George Mason. And then the other one that I wanted to also shout out that honestly would have been my first one was Clemson versus Pitt. Now, if you guys can find any footage of this game of Clemson versus Pitt, NCAA men's soccer, send it over because I can't find it to save my life. And this is like one of those things where you're like, dude, how is there no footage on some of these games? It's absolutely nuts. Clemson was ranked number 3 and Pitt ranked number 10, like top teams, right? Playing. Clemson did end up winning 3-2, obviously beating Pitt. But from what I heard, the game was basically, finalized from a goal in the 80th minute in the 80th minute by Clemson. So hats off to, Clemson and West Virginia for obviously getting some wins, but also a little bit of an L there for NCAA men's soccer. That, dude, the information from these games is just sometimes non-existent and just not there. So that's a problem.
I found the stream. Maybe that's why I couldn't find it. Play it. Apparently it's on ESPN. But it's like the entire game, but I can't click on it. I can't watch it.
Yeah, so. I couldn't click on anything either. It was weird.
Yeah,
like you can't even if you go on ESPN, it like doesn't let you click it.
Yeah. So I thought it was because I was on the UK side, but I would
get on Zoom info, bro, and then email the ESPN CEO and tell him, hey,
the head of NCAA men's soccer, dude, whoever that guy is,
go email him.
Figure him out. We should figure it out.
Let's give me some of this footage, bro.
Yeah,
figure it out.
The hell, bro.
I'll go in. I'll personally record the games for you.
I mean, Fern said it. I didn't. But anyways, on to the last little piece. I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but St. Louis, I mean, you kind of have to pour one out a little bit for them at this point. I think they have less than a 1% chance of making the playoffs at this point if they're not already eliminated. So, rough season. Obviously, they have some talent there with 42 shots in this last game against FC Dallas. But honestly, for them to go, to have an early lead against FC Dallas, for Dallas to go down to 10 men, and you still only, come out with a 1-1 tie, that's pretty rough. As well as, I don't know if you guys will watch some of the highlights or even watch the game, but after the game, obviously with a 1-1 tie, you hear a lot of boos coming from the stands. So, the fans aren't happy. I'm sure the team isn't happy. Coaching staff isn't happy. But I mean, I guess there's always next year at this point. So, St. Louis, it is what it is, man. I feel sorry for y'all, but maybe next year.
It's just so hard to come back from being so bad for so long. Because even when you do play well, it doesn't really matter if that makes sense. You're basically just trying to gain that confidence back. Kind of like look at the LA Galaxy. They've been playing so bad. They've played well at the Leagues Cup, but in the MLS, they just haven't been able to find that. So they kind of just need this season to be over to come back with a fresh start and see if that helps. But sorry, St. Louis.
It is what it is. All right, man. Round us out here, Chino.
To wrap us up, crack one open for my cracked player of the game. This week, we got the Portuguese superstar straight out of Porto, coming from Porto, Andre Franco. Fern, throw him up there.
Holy cow, dude. Good thing you said something. I honestly forgot.
I know. I was waiting for it, and I was like, dang, it's not coming. I was waiting. I was like, dang, I'm talking, and I'm talking some more, and then
I was doing some research, and then go for it. There you go.
You had to find that footage, bro. I got you. They make it so hard to find. Andre Franco, 2 assists in that win over New England. This is only his second game, so the last game they played, I can't remember who they played against. Was his debut here in the MLS, and
I believe it was against Philly. I'll double check for you though.
Against Philly, yes. But regardless, Franco started in midfield and just making an early impact there for Chicago Fire. Already seeing him in action, so had to shout him out. We already talked about the game a little bit, but as we talked about, a little bit of a slower week, but hats off to you, Andre Franco. We'd love to see some new talent here in the MLS making a splash early on. So excited to see what else he can do here. Moving on to my crack game of the week. As you guys see here, I have the Denver Broncos versus the Tennessee Titans. Not a great game for the Broncos, but just kidding. This is a football podcast.
Did they lose?
No, bro, we won.
They won.
It was
Okay,
yeah.
I was like, there's no way you guys lost.
No, it was the defense no, I don't want to get into it. We'll talk about it later. Broncos defense great, the offense not so good. I'm worried about us.
Sometimes
But
very good.
good, sometimes very caca. But coming off of Andre Franco and his 2 assists, the game of the week, really the only one that had most of the action. Chicago Fire holding on to their playoff spot so far. I think they're 9th in the Eastern Conference, as we already discussed a little bit. New England just trying to ruin some people's dreams. Couldn't do it there against Chicago Fire, having lost in that 3-2 loss to Chicago. So, but again, a little bit of a slower week here. But to wrap us up in this segment, pouring one out for Sporting Kansas City, having lost 4 of their last 5. They've been looking in pretty bad shape most of the season. Playoff dreams not there, non-existent. Just a rough season, hoping that they can regroup and maybe figure it out next season. But it's been a rough season for them. So glad none of us called them early on this year. So as being contenders.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be surprised if that Jovelik, the forward that they have, the number 9, I'd be surprised if he stays. To be honest with y'all, I think he's a really good player, and I think he's the one that scored for them this week. I think like I said, he probably deserves to be on a much better team. But we'll see.
He just won the MLS Cup last year.
Did he? Was he on?
He was on the Galaxy.
Oh, was he? Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder why they got rid of him then.
So this goes back to what we've talked about in the past, but I've seen some discourse online about basically saying how the LA Galaxy had to get rid of a couple of their players due to the cap stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is what it is. I guess Sporting Kansas City had to take it. Dude's got 17 goals in 29 games. I mean, what's the leader's surge right now with what, 20?
Yeah. So he's not.
And Messi has 19.
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah, he's top 3 in scoring. Actually, I just came to look at the stats. He's got 1 goal more than Evander.
Wow,
Evander.
That's wild. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like you said, we'll see what happens for him next year. But solid stuff, brother. Love to hear the insights. Love to hear the kind of the ideas or the players and the games there. So solid stuff, boys. Solid cracked performances there. We'll go ahead and go into the next little segment here into the headlines that we kind of alluded to at the beginning here. To kick it off with the headlines, boys. Obviously, it's kind of something that's been around the internet recently that's been very much top of mind. But the Luis Suarez punishment has definitely gone, and I believe this is all the punishment that he will now be receiving at this point. For those of you that don't know, obviously, Luis Suarez spits on, a staff member of Seattle during the League Cup final after the game. A couple other things happened throughout that, obviously, that little debacle. But at the very end, he had a statement, said kind of sorry, yada, yada, yada. League Cup comes out and they say, hey, because of this, it's a 6-match ban for him in the League Cup, just specifically League Cup. And then I believe it was yesterday, maybe even 2 days ago, the MLS comes out and I believe they banned him for 3 matches, I believe. And so he's obviously banned for 3 matches. They're going to be a little bit interesting because they obviously have to make up so many games, and now they won't have Luis Suarez. But very interesting for them to say. So I'm curious, man. I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are on some of these punishments. Obviously, a couple other guys maybe didn't get any punishments or kind of got some smaller ones. But curious on what your guys' thoughts are. Do you guys think that's a good punishment, a heavy punishment? What do you guys think?
Correct me if I'm wrong, just because you guys know I'm an Inter Miami fan. So I can kind of see why maybe some of the other players didn't get punished, just because I know Busquets punched somebody, Falcone was choke holding somebody, but I feel like that was a bit from both sides. So maybe the MLS was like, well, since both these guys were getting at it, those guys won't be punished. I feel like what makes it worse is spitting on somebody is like a whole nother thing. Like that's chemical warfare right there. That stuff's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, like if you do it, sometimes they even just kick you out at the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
You Jalen Carter that thing.
Yeah, and even
saw that.
Yeah, I did see that. And even well, at least there he spit at a player, right? Somebody you're playing against, and not like the freaking security guard that the Philadelphia Eagles carry with them all over the place now. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's somewhat fair. Um, 3 games for the MLS does seem a bit low. The Leagues Cup games are like, okay, whatever, because most people are like, oh, he's probably retiring after this season anyways, so that really doesn't matter to him. But yeah, these games will be very important because, like we said, he hasn't been the best scorer for Miami this year, but he has been a very good provider. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. At the beginning of the season, they got this new player on loan as in striker. He played 1 game, and ever since then, I haven't seen him play. So they're gonna have to try something out. And I don't know, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe Suarez needs these days off, so we'll see.
Yeah, par for the course, really. I was looking up while Fern was talking a little bit more about the him being banned. The last time somebody was banned for spitting, I believe, was Hector Herrera, who spat at a MLS referee,
Oh
and
my god.
so he had like his Toluca start and everything delayed because of his 3 game ban. So it's within reason, right? It's like it's working off of precedent. Yeah, we've talked about it last week where Suarez's history maybe warrants more. And in my personal opinion and in my own biases, again, I think this man should be done with soccer, with football. Like, I feel like he's just disrespected the game enough where someone eventually has to put their foot down. I get it. People online are going to say, oh, the proximity to Messi, right? That's what's protecting him. Again, looking at precedent, looking at previous bans for, I shouldn't say similar incidents because, again, this was very unique.
Can
It's there. It's par for the course for the MLS. Sorry, Fern, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say that I didn't know that Hector Herrera spit on the ref, but conspiracy theory, they were playing against the Sounders.
Oh, dude, you might be onto something there, dude. What in the
I
world?
don't know what the Sounders are doing in that stadium, but they're causing players to spit on people. So maybe it wasn't Suarez's fault. Maybe it was the Sounders' fault.
Dude, that's as good
Maybe.
of a soccer conspiracy as the one where, like, when MLS teams go and play in the US and they somehow, some way get food poisoning after eating breakfast at the hotels. I
Have you heard
mean,
of the
throw it in
Aaron
there.
Ramsey
Throw it in the
curse?
hat. What?
Have you heard of the Aaron Ramsey curse?
No, I don't
So
think so.
there's this player. His name's Aaron Ramsey. He's like an attacking midfielder. He's Welsh. He played for Arsenal for a really long
Arsenal?
time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And the curse is basically anytime because he wasn't like a player that would score all the time. So basically, anytime he scored, like famous person would die. And he recently scored
What
like
the heck?
like a couple weeks ago, and someone was like, "The curse is alive and well." I don't know who died, but he scored and somebody died that day.
I have heard this. I saw it on TikTok. This is hilarious. Yes.
That's insane. That's insane. People die every day, man. That's a bad omen to put on someone, bro. That's nasty. That sucks. I feel bad for him now. But that is pretty nuts. That is some crazy conspiracy stuff right there for sure. But yeah, dude, some solid takes for sure. I think, when you kind of think about the Leagues Cup, I definitely agree with you there, Fern. Like, he's probably not going to be around next season to where he has to serve that 6-game suspension. So, that was kind of a dumb suspension, I thought, for sure. The 3-game one for the MLS, I also think is very low. 3 games, I mean, they got to make up at least 4 on top of whatever they got to play next, right? So they got to make up like 8 to 9 games at this point. And that gives them enough time to come back and obviously help Miami make the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. I would have liked to have seen something closer to 5 or 6. And then obviously a nice little fine, maybe a 50K, 100K, something like that. And then obviously, he already kind of came out with a statement, but like, you got to do something a little bit more than that as well, right? Like, I don't know, start a nonprofit, bro. You know what I mean? I have no idea. But yeah, I think it's a little light. Like you said, it's, it puts a stain on, the game. It puts a stain on the MLS. Was it good for the MLS in terms of like publicity and people watching and people seeing like what the heck's going down? Probably. I mean, I guess you can look at it that way. But I also think just in terms of like a human being respectful, being someone that kids look up to, like, how could you do that? You know what I mean? So I thought it was super low, and the guy's just never going to live this down. The biting, the spitting, it's Luis Suarez. The handball, like it is him at this point, you know?
That's
I'll never
what
forget that freaking handball, bro.
Yeah, and then the fact that he celebrated after they blocked the penalty too is so
Mhm.
funny. And then
Bro,
Yeah.
send in the National Guard, bro. Send in the National Guard. This man needs to be stopped.
Yeah, so
I was gonna go back to the curse of Aaron Ramsey because I just looked it up real quick, and I just wanted to bring up some names that. So everybody thinks that the U.S. military killed Osama bin Laden, but it was actually Aaron Ramsey because Osama bin Laden died a day after Aaron Ramsey scored against Manchester United. He also
No
killed
way.
Steve Jobs. He died
Oh
3
my-
days after he
See, that's what I'm
scored.
telling you. People die every day. This guy's getting blamed for people just randomly dropping.
He killed Whitney Houston, bro.
Dude.
No. And Paul Walker's
He
on this
wasn't
list
even
too.
alive. And Paul Walker, dude.
Paul
No,
Walker's on the list, bro. The latest entry to this was actually Pope Francis. So,
Oh my gosh.
I
Dude,
just
that's wild.
I just thought because they got me curious as to who the people were. So sorry to
That's honestly
send us
funny as
off the
hell, though.
rails a
I
little
thought that was
bit.
hilarious. So nice job. Yeah, I mean, Gordon? No, Aaron Ramsey.
Aaron Ramsey.
Aaron Ramsey.
Gordon
Dude,
Ramsay.
I know. I thought it was Gordon, bro. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, tough luck, brother. I wish you nothing but the best, but stop scoring. For the love of God.
I think
stop
he's a
scoring.
coach now, so
Okay, good.
we're safe. We're safe.
Good. Solid
What?
stuff there, man.
A ball's gonna bounce up of his leg as a coach. It's gonna go into the goal, and then 2 days later, someone's gonna die, bro.
Well,
Now
Pope
all he
Francis,
does is cause sicknesses.
Pope Francis died the day after he was announced as the head coach of Cardiff, so that's why.
Jeez. That's insane, brother. That's insane. Okay, solid stuff, man. Let's go ahead and get into the next little headline here. Obviously, we're kind of going into some of these international friendlies.
Oh,
Sorry.
he's dying.
Some of these international friendlies. And, obviously the USA has been playing. Mexico as well has been playing. But, there's also a lot of, UEFA, CONCACAF. I believe CONMEBOL is also going on. So a lot of different, qualifiers going on at the same time with this international window. The USA did lose against South Korea 3-0 this last week. Mexico did tie against Japan 0-0 this last week as well. I wanted to start off with those two because they're obviously the closest to us, and then we kind of get into the other kind of qualifiers. But your thoughts, fellas? I'm not sure if you guys have watched any of these games, but the USA obviously losing, and then Mexico scoreless against Japan. Any just quick thoughts? Any things that you kind of just noticed from these games before we kind of get into the other teams or the other games?
They said Pulisic was going to change his team. Look what happened.
He changed it.
He did. He definitely did. No. Again, South Korea is a very strong team. I feel like some people see. I know that the U.S. is a big country and they've come a long way, but some of these teams, some of these players are. I don't want to say like that much better because the U.S. could have won this game, but like you can't just go into these games nonchalant. I know you're not doing any qualifications; you're already qualified to the World Cup, so you're just doing friendlies at this point. But you should play them as if they're qualifiers. You're going into the World Cup. You shouldn't be taking the games easy. You should be trying as much as you can. This is probably the strongest team that the U.S. has put out in some time. They have their main guy Pulisic. They have Sargent. Adams is always playing. Berhalter played. Luna played. They have played. They had a lot of their starters that will be playing in the World Cup in this game. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now. They didn't play very well, and this South Korea team, played very well. I know Kim Min-jae. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he plays for Bayern Munich, and he's a very good defender. So this isn't a bad team. So this should be a wake-up call for the United States of America. And and be like, you know what, you have your main guy Pulisic, but he's not going to save you. You need the entire team. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for me, looking at the Mexico versus Japan game, right? Mexico showcasing a near full strength lineup, I believe, and Japan just looked a lot better than they did. Japan, I honestly believe, was the better team that night. Overall, though, so having said that, having Mexico ending with a 0-0 draw was honestly a good outcome, in my opinion, especially having lost Edson Alvarez early in the game. He left due to an injury, so Mexico's midfield was already feeling it. And then also, not that it really mattered, it was in like the 90th minute plus like the 2 minutes of overtime. Cesar Montes was sent off with a red card. Mexico had to finish with their 10 men, but would it have really made a difference? I don't really think so, based off of how they were playing earlier on in the night. And then, yeah, Japan's looking strong. Takefusa Kubo and Ritsu Don.
¿Qué me dijiste? Just kidding.
they were showing out there for Japan. Had a couple of shots on goal, making Luis Malagon get some work in. But overall, man, solid looks. Excited to see what these teams will bring to the World Cup. That's all I keep thinking about.
Again, sorry, I'm just going to say that Japan has a really good team. I don't know if you've seen who their players are, Reyes, but they have some big names. Like Endo plays for Liverpool. He's not like a main starter, but him, Minamino, Kubo, like Lopez said, and Mitoma are some pretty big names in Spain and England. So this will be interesting. Hopefully, we'll see how the U.S. fares against Japan, in like tomorrow?
I think they play
tomorrow. So they're switching.
Yeah, for sure.
They're passing them around.
Yeah, I mean, I've never thought that South Korea or Japan have not been strong teams. They've always been, if you kind of keep up with international play, they've always been pretty tough teams. Japan, maybe more specifically, they've always had a pretty decent team. So, they're both really good squads that are going to obviously put some pressure on Mexico as well as the U.S. Mexico obviously bringing in a lot of that top, Santi Jimenez, both the Jimenez's kind of a little bit later into the game. Like, were they taking it as serious? Probably not. Like you guys said, they're kind of like more like friendlies at this point. But, obviously Mexico didn't get the loss. They at least kind of had the tie in a sense. So they didn't lose, which is great. But going back to the U.S. men's national team game, I mean, to lose 3-0, that's definitely tough. It's definitely tough to see. And who other to score in that game than Heung-min Son, right? Like, it had to be him, right? Kind of nuts. But, man, it's kind of wild, right? I kind of think about this, and, everybody kind of thinks about the U.S. men's national team. It's so easy to talk
about. 3-0?
Yeah, the U.S.
The heck? Huh.
Yeah, they lost 3-0, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I believe you. It's just FootMob says 2-0 for some reason.
Oh, you're right, 2-0. What? Why did I say 3-0? Why did I think 3-0?
I don't know. That's how bad they are. Just add an extra goal.
Dude, I could have sworn I saw 3.
I thought so too.
Huh. For some reason, I thought 3. So I must be tripping. I don't know maybe what game I was thinking about. But anyways, what I was going to is, obviously Mexico's going to have a strong performance. We all know that. They're going to be a strong team. They're going to be a good team come next year. They have talent. They're going to do what they need to do to be successful, right? And then the U.S. men's national team, like, they're just been like this punching bag. You know what I mean? Like, just always boom, boom, boom. Like, they're always getting kind of, dogged on, talked about, like ex-legends, Landon Donovan, Tim Howard talking crap on them, all this other stuff, and a couple of their players saying things here and there. If you watched a little bit of these highlights, I don't know if you guys watched some of the highlights or even the game, but like, you look at the stands, bro, and it's the U.S. versus whoever. It's an away game, and the way I'm thinking about it is, if I'm on the U.S. men's national team, or if I'm talking the U.S. men's national team, I would say get ready for next year, because it's being played in the U.S., Mexico, Canada, whatever. But the U.S., every game is going to be an away game. Everybody's going to be rooting against this squad, whether it's the fans at the stadium or even the fans that they have themselves, right? U.S. men's national team, like U.S. fans. Like, it's almost like their own fans don't really want or don't really care so much as for like their success. So I would tell them, hey, look, everybody's going to be against you. You guys are obviously not playing to what you're supposed to be leading up to 2026. So good. Like, use that. Use that as like fuel or whatever you want to call it to just get better. You still have time, right? How many days do we have? It doesn't start till like what, June or whatever, the World Cup. Like, you have time, but use this as fuel to just shut everybody up in 2026, whatever that looks like. You know what I mean? But to me, that's kind of what I see is like, it's you against everybody else. Shut them all out and ball out.
Two things. I'm excited for tomorrow because I just realized that Son is playing against Mexico. Everybody knows he's a Mexican legend. So I'll be excited to see how that goes. And sort of going off of what you said, it sucks that you are having the biggest tournament in soccer, football in the world in your own home country. And like you said, they're more likely than not going to be the away team in their own country. So what I think is the United States needs to show out this World Cup. I don't know what they need to do. They don't need to make the final because I'm not even gonna put that pressure on them. I don't think they'll even get close. But they need to like play good football. They need to score goals. They need to make these games interesting. They need to make these games fun because, like you said, the whole world is watching, and more importantly than the whole world is your own country is gonna be watching. This will probably be one of the most important World Cups for the U.S. because it's on home soil. You're going to have more fans than you may have in any other World Cup. So this is your time to build that fan base, fill up these stadiums going past the World Cup, making new fans and showing them, you know what, we're good. Like, and even if we're not good, you're just a fan of us. You need to have pride in the country. Like if it was the Olympics or whatever, these people need to show out, and I feel like this will be a great showcase for them to show the country what they're made of.
Like, my question is, like, Joe Rogan, where you at? Like, all these influencers who could have sway in getting more people to these games have that power in their hands, man. I mean, just look at the UFC. Just look at all these other things that you guys, like, uplift. It is a World Cup year. The U.S. is a host country. If you guys go and start saying how badass it is to be in a, like, the whole thing is we have made soccer such a like unmanly sport within U.S. culture that shit pisses me off so bad that many people are like, oh, it's a write-off sport. And now that we're hosting one of the biggest tournaments in the world in our home country for the first time in I don't know how long, right? Have we ever hosted it? I can't even remember. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I'm sure we posted it in a minute, but right, like this might be that only chance, like in near times that we're going to be able to experience something like this. Like, we need more people talking about this. We need to get people excited about this now. We need to get people to these MLS games to get them a vibe of what this can be like and get people excited. Like, we need to be doing that work now. And that's just my biggest thing is just like, we're here we are, we're making this podcast, right? We believe that this sport has a lot to offer soccer fans, football fans, and that the MLS has a lot to offer. And we know that it does, but like the World Cup will really be an opportunity for U.S. fans to either show up or we're just going to, again, be playing away games constantly in our own home country.
Yeah. For my Tuesday league team, we had a girl who had never played soccer before in her life. She was just like, oh, it's just for fun, like, let's go play. I told her to come play. And we're kind of just having to tell her what to do. And I'm like, hey, like, if this guy's coming up to you, like, put your body up against them, like, like
check his ass.
Yeah, like, or like just like, like put your body in the way, because she would kind of just like walk off, which, and then she's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Like, you can use your body. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So like when you like a lot of these people, like, they don't understand, like, they think soccer, there's no like physicality to it. They just feel like you're just passing the ball around. But if you watch some soccer, like great soccer games where like or some top teams, those players are aggressive to the point where you just feel like they're just going to start kicking each other, So I just feel like some of these people, again, more often than not, the people here in the U.S. are probably going to watch an MLS match. And as much as I love the MLS, sometimes it's not the best exposure to the game, I would say, like, it's not a top league. So maybe some of these people are just watching the wrong games, and maybe they just need to expand their horizons a little bit. So, like I said, this World Cup will be very integral to the U.S. fan base growing. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, and you said a couple of good points there too, PZ. I think you mentioned, a couple guys, like a couple other influencers. Like, I do think come next year, maybe like a month or two, I guarantee you every single person, the Rogans, the Dana Whites, the Pat McAfees, all those are going to start talking about the World Cup. I would assume, right? But then at that point, it's like, it's kind of just like what we were talking about, like with like Messi jumping on Inter Miami, and like they're just kind of jumping on because Messi's on there. It's kind of like the bandwagon thing. And then once the World Cup's over, peace, see you guys. Not gonna talk about it like ever again. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what sucks about it, is that it's not really like something that they discuss year round, right? So that definitely sucks. But yeah, I mean, solid points for sure. Solid, things that kind of came up from that discussion there. Obviously, we kind of want to see the U.S. men's national team do whatever they got to do to perform. But like you said, even if they don't get out of the group stage, just go all out. Like, I don't care. Show us, like, in the world stage, like what kind of style the U.S. men's national team wants to play. Is that like super fancy stuff? Probably not. It's probably not going to be that way. But just make it rough, dude. Make it rough and tough, and just kind of get after it and play like Diego Luna. Diego Luna is like trying to get into the men's national team roster. Like, just bite the kneecaps on the way up from the guy from the Detroit Lions. You know what I mean? Like, play like that.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, Dan Campbell, bro. You got to do it like that.
I was gonna transition us a bit, or go Lopez before I transition.
Before you transition us, the last thing I will say on this is, don't let me lose this train of thought. The last thing I will say on this point is, you're likely not going to get a World Cup ticket. Let's be so freaking for real. A lot of us, unless you're going to be spending the thousands of dollars that it's going to take in the aftermarket, are not going to get the World Cup tickets. So why not go see some of these players who will be playing in the World Cup during these MLS games that you will be able to access for significantly cheaper? Because trust me, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring again. I'm going to make a couple videos highlighting and reminding you all of that September 10th Visa card holder, Visa credit card holder ticket sales window. We'll be talking a little bit more about that. But again, like, yes, even though all these people can be hyping it up, and regardless of no matter how much these people talk about it, getting a ticket is going to be damn near impossible. And if you do get lucky enough to get a ticket, fantastic. Go enjoy the games, enjoy the experience of a lifetime. Please don't try and resell it for thousands of dollars. And if you do, but all that to say, support your MLS teams now. You can see some really cool soccer, even in your own home states.
Yeah, and that kind of helps me transition a bit. I'm going to go on a little side tangent before I do, because when you guys were talking about influencers, one of the players that I've seen become a bit more outspoken, probably because it helps him financially, is JJ Watt. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he's actually a co-part owner of Burnley soccer out in England. So, and I believe maybe one of the reasons he kind of got into the soccer thing is because of his wife, Kayla or whatever. And then the other day I was just wondering, like, what kind of like people came from Utah, and I found out that JJ Watt's wife was born in Draper, went to Alta High School, and it surprised me. So, but cool. I kind of wanted to transition us to some moves that the MLS has been making, and it kind of correlates to the World Cup, because the Colorado Rapids recently signed Paxton Aronson, who his brother plays for Leeds United out in England. But he is only 21 years old, and he is one of the Colorado Rapids designated players, which I feel like is not something you see very often. Like Diego Luna is not even a designated player for Real Salt Lake. He's still on a, I don't know, young players contract, whatever you call it. And I was reading through this article just talking about how he went out to Europe, played for Frankfurt out in England, went on loan to a team in the Eredivisie out in the Netherlands, and how he came back to the MLS because, there's like this stigma of people where you're like, oh, I left out to Europe, I can't go back to the MLS because I failed. And I feel like this move should hopefully help some of these younger players that are out there not getting the playtime that they need, not developing, not maybe performing as well as they'd like. Come to the MLS, bring your talents here, and grow not only the MLS but yourself. And help develop your country, because at the end of this article they actually started speaking about the previous winners of the World Cup. Like it mentioned, let me see, the 2022 FIFA World Cup winners. Do you guys know who they were? Oh yeah, Argentina and Messi.
Of course you would.
Yeah, sorry. But it's just saying, like, you know what? You bring the young players in. Lopez mentioned it. If you can't go watch the World Cup, watch the players that are playing in the World Cup. Unfortunately, for a lot of these U.S. fans, a lot of the players that do play for the men's national team at the World Cup are out in Europe. Diego Luna is an exception, which technically not a World Cup player yet. Berhalter as well, some of these MLS teams. But so, like I said, the Argentina, most of the players, they had one player that played in the domestic top flight team. But a lot of the players in the actual World Cup came up in the domestic league and moved on to like another team. Another example that they gave was in the 2018 winners, which was France, had 9 players that played in France in their league, developing in their league. In 2014, 16 Bundesliga players, so the German league players, were in the German national team, and 20 La Liga players were in the Spain team that won the World Cup in 2010. So kind of just saying, like Lopez said, some of these World Cup players need to come to their own country and help develop this a bit. I understand Europe is very enticing and do all that, but if it's not working out, it's not bad to come back to your country and develop here. If you feel like it's maybe lesser of a league, then come and play here and make it a bigger league.
Yeah,
if you would want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally agree with you. I don't know. Have you guys ever watched that the documentary on Amazon about Pulisic? Have you guys watched that at all?
No.
It's pretty good if you haven't watched it. But I think the reason I bring that one up is because you think about, players from here, like a Pulisic, going into somewhere else to go play soccer and obviously trying to make it in this foreign league, in this foreign country, really. And in this documentary, he just talks about how difficult it is for him to really just be successful there, not just because the level of play is much higher than it was like in the MLS or in the States, but because the people in these countries don't want to see an American in Germany or in Italy or in France and learn all these tactics and then obviously take it back to the States and do all this stuff, right? He kind of talks about how going to Italy, like, people just did not really like help him whatsoever, right? They kind of just like, oh, it's Christian Pulisic. Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, he's coming for my job, so like it's not like they're trying to like help him out, support him. But at the end of the day, like, they're a team, they're trying to win championships, right? But it's like, he's also this American. He's also this guy that we don't want to see be successful and have a spot on the first team, right? Like, it's pretty interesting, and I guarantee everybody else that goes across the world to go play, like, I'm sure that's a very like psychological thing that a lot of them have to overcome. And it is interesting to kind of see how successful they can be. And then if they do come back, like, I would never think of it as like hey, they failed. But like, if they come back and do well, like, that's good. It's good for the league. It's good for them. It's good for the whole country. So very interesting topic that you brought up there for sure, though.
Yes, sir. Quick fun fact. Obviously off topic again, just because we were talking about a certain player. So do you guys know how many U.S. men's national team players have won the Champions League?
Is it just Pulisic?
I thought it was only him, but apparently there's 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
Which
it's
is
gotta be Pulisic, and
I don't think you'd get it because I honestly don't know who this guy is. His name's Jovan Kurovsky.
Oh,
I think he's the former technical director of the Los Angeles Galaxy. The crazy thing is he won it with Borussia Dortmund in 1997, which Pulisic also played for Dortmund. So
Well,
funny enough.
interesting. Yeah, that's crazy. Solid stuff. But yeah, anyways, also kind of going into a couple other things around the World Cup, around the qualifiers and kind of this international window. Not sure if you guys saw though, but we have some new qualifying teams for the World Cup. As of the 4th up until today, Uruguay, Colombia, Morocco, and Tunisia have now qualified for the 2026 FIFA World Cups. A lot of familiar names. I mean, obviously, I feel like every single time I watch the World Cup, you always see an Uruguay, you always see a Colombia. Why? I believe they haven't qualified since 2010. So it's been a while since they've been on this stage, which is pretty cool. And then Colombia, same thing. They haven't qualified since 2018. So very cool to see them, obviously, in this upcoming World Cup. Morocco was a bit of a, Cinderella story last World Cup with, a pretty decent showing. They got 4th place in the 2022 World Cup, so that was pretty crazy. Can they do it again? Can they do it again this year? We'll see. But yeah, a couple different names. Up to now, I'll just name them off really quickly. Obviously, you got Canada, Mexico, United States. But then you got Japan, New Zealand, Iran, Argentina, Uzbekistan, South Korea, Jordan, Australia, Brazil, Uruguay, Ecuador, Colombia, Paraguay, Morocco, and Tunisia. So numbers are climbing, fellas. Numbers are climbing, and we're getting very close. I believe the last international window we'll have is in November. So I believe around then is when everything will be finalized, tip and top, and ready to go for 2026. Solid stuff. But I guess the last little story here, just to kind of cap us off before we get into our picks. Crazy news that I don't know if Fernando's ready to hear, because he might just break down and, have the worst time of his life. But there was some speculation that the GOAT could potentially not participate in the 2026 World Cup. I believe he was asked about the World Cup and kind of how, his anticipation about it and all these different things. And he didn't really give a clear answer as to oh yeah, I'm ready to go. Body feels good, all this other stuff. He kind of just said, I'm taking it day by day. We'll see what happens come 2026. What's your thoughts if Messi does not attend this World Cup?
New meme format dropped. Because of my age, the most logical thing is that I won't make it. That's what I send to people when they tell me I need to go play soccer at 10 for my Tuesday league. Honestly, I was pretty certain that he was going to go to the World Cup the way he had been talking about it previously. I don't even know what to say. I'm I'm at a loss for words. It's crazy to think. I feel like he should, obviously, just because, I know he left off winning the World Cup and he probably wants it that way, but, kind of giving your fans a little bit of farewell before.
A last dance.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides not to play, which would suck because it'd be nice.
But what would that mean?
One more time.
What would that mean? I feel like if people hear that he's not playing, what do you think people would just be like, "Ni quiero ir"? You think or no?
I don't think so. At the end of the day, this is kind of what happens. I'd still want to go to a World Cup game. It would just suck to not have him there. I feel like him not going and realizing he's too old will ruin Cristiano Ronaldo's legacy more because he's still trying to get that World Cup, And Messi's over here enjoying his retirement. So, yeah, I think.
What do you think, PZ?
I just would hate for Messi to go out there and look like Cristiano did during the last World Cup. He did not look good, bro. I'm not. Call it throwing shade. I just would rather the GOAT not play, end it on a high note. Sure, you tried, right? At least you tried. You stuck it out with Miami. You looked good. You're still putting up points. You're the GOAT. You're talented. But, bro, you've been running this sports engine for, several miles now, and the engine's wearing out, and it's only fair, right? We all get older. Life goes on, and at least you're going to go down in the history books, right? Like, yes, a last dance would be great. I just would hate for that last dance to be just like, oh man, Messi just looks so bad, and it's people feeling bad for him. It just feels bad. Like, thinking about that makes me feel bad, and I'm like, I just rather he'd be like, yep, let's just call it here and go retire. But final thoughts.
Obviously, the coach and all the players want him to play. At the end of the day, he's going to decide. And it comes down to like the coach understanding if he's going to be there, which it's kind of already been like that the last few years. He's not going to do much. He's going to do what he needs to when he needs to. But if there's if the ball's coming towards him and you're expecting him to put a leg out for defense, he's not going to.
Yeah.
So you just gotta. And the Argentinian national team is very aware of that. They've built the team around him recently like that. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll see kind of what happens with him. I think obviously if he can attend, if he can play one last hoorah 2026, it would be awesome. It'd be sweet to see if possible. But I don't think anybody would knock him for deciding to, call it quits internationally. He might have a year left or so in the MLS. We'll see. But to be honest, sounds like the engine is getting quite a bit of miles on it, and it's probably time to hang it up pretty soon. So, if you have a chance, if you ever get a chance to watch him play, you got to do it. But, what a ride, man. What a ride. So whatever he decides to do, we'll be supportive. But solid stuff there, boys. Let's go ahead and cap it off here with the last little section here on the picks. We're not going to do obviously every single game here, but maybe just kind of take a look at the games for Saturday. Full slate, fellas. 15 games. Every single team will be on display this Saturday, which is nuts to say, but obviously with the international window being over, every single team is ready to go. They need to get into the playoffs here. They need to wrap up this season. At this point, man, I mean, every game really matters. Some of these teams have a very small percentage of getting into the playoffs. Some of them have already clinched. Some of them have already been eliminated. But some of these teams that are like, in the running, like it's do or die. You know what I mean? So I'll kind of go off from the top of the screen here, Fern. What game stands out? What one game stands out for you on this Saturday slot, this upcoming Saturday?
I feel like the Vancouver Philly game is going to be a good game. What are they? The top two teams in the East. So that should end up being a good game. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I always think Vancouver's in the East, but yeah, this should be a good game because Vancouver wants to get up top in the table. What are they? 7 points behind, so they can't get off the top even with these next two games, so they'd be off by 1 point. But they definitely want to get up there. I'm sure they want to win the Community Shield with them being so close. And obviously Philadelphia is also running for that, which they're currently in first with 1 point above San Diego. But this should be a good game because they are basically guaranteed a playoff spot, but they're playing for other stuff. Like I said, the Community Shield. So we'll see how it goes. It should hopefully be a high-scoring game, or it'll be a low-scoring game. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Definitely some top teams going at it. Vancouver Whitecaps, I feel like we haven't really talked about them much. I feel like that we couldn't keep their names out of our mouths at the beginning of the season, and now it's just been a little bit more tailored off. The Union definitely in that driver's seat to get the Community Shield. Top game for sure for this upcoming weekend, so that should be fun, man. Chino, what do you think, brother?
I'm keeping my eyes on, and this is just bias, and this is for my RSL fans who may or may not listen to this podcast. Looking at Real Salt Lake versus Sporting Kansas City, like we've talked about, Sporting Kansas City has been looking in pretty poor form. Real Salt Lake has not been looking much better, but they playoff contention is realistic. That's what I'm saying. So keeping an eye on that. If Houston falls, RSL could keep climbing. San Jose is also barely holding on there as well. So keeping my hopes up
behind as well. So they have a really good chance of making it into the playoffs at least.
Yeah. No,
I think the last time I checked, it was like 20, like high mid to high 20% chance, depending on the other two teams for sure.
Heck yeah. So that even more reason, right? Like I'm holding on to that hope that RSL will be able to make it in and we can see a playoff run from them. But that's the game that I'm watching. It's not an exciting game per se in the grand scheme of things when we have a couple of other much more interesting games to watch. But
I feel like this is a very important game, though, for sure, for Real Salt Lake, because they have to win this game. Kansas City has not been playing well. They need the points to get into the playoffs, and their next two games after this are both against LAFC, which are going to be very hard to get a point from, especially the way they've been playing. So I feel like they need these 3 points, because if they don't get anything from these next two LAFC games, they're going to be falling way behind. So
yeah, for sure. And then it's interesting you bring this game up too, because when you think about RSL and you think about like rivalries, you kind of think about Colorado Rapids, right? Because they have the Rocky Mountain Cup thing. They're kind of our neighboring states. But I looked this up too, but for some reason there is somewhat of a heated rivalry between Sporting Kansas City and RSL. What I'm looking at here is like it says the rivalry began after the 2013 MLS Cup final and intensified with frequent hard-fought matches, including playoff encounters and even a 2011 preseason brawl. So for some reason, RSL fans do not like Sporting Kansas City fans. So this could be a pretty fun game to watch. Definitely some playoff implications for RSL. And yeah, I believe they have Luna back for this game. So this could get interesting. This could get dicey. I mean, I want to see some quality spinning here, fellas. I want to see something classy.
the rivalry came from us stealing their women.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's we took their women's soccer team is what I'm trying to say. The Utah Royals used to belong to Kansas.
So wasn't the Royals before it was in Kansas City in Salt Lake?
I don't know.
But did it bounce back and forth? I honestly don't know the history of that. That'd be interesting to see.
I believe
it's bounced a little bit.
The Utah Royals was
began Utah Royals in 2018.
And then it disbanded, and then it got sold to somebody, and then they came back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you might be a little right. I believe I remember hearing something about that for sure. But it could be that. So, solid pick there, man. I mean, some rivalry stuff going on for sure, so could be interesting. Man. Nice. Yeah, I think those games are great.
Right. Sorry, Lopez is right. I found it. Lopez is right. I just wanted to make it known that he was right. We did get them from Kansas City, and then they started here. Then they got shut down, then they started up again. So Lopez was right.
Nice. Solid stuff. Yeah, for sure, man. So that's good. Definitely lots of games to kind of look into too. I think some honorable mentions going to be Charlotte versus Inter Miami. Charlotte going on that, winning streak. I believe they're one win away from the longest win streak in MLS history that I believe happened with the Seattle Sounders way back when they were just super elite, which they usually are a very good team. But I believe they're one win away from tying that record, which would be super cool for them to do, especially against Inter Miami. You kind of look at this FC Cincinnati versus Nashville game. Nashville hasn't been as good as they have been, towards the middle of the season. Cincinnati probably not as good either. So this could also be a pretty interesting matchup. But for me personally, I'm going to have to go with the San Diego versus Minnesota game here. Obviously, number 1 versus number Minnesota 2 in the Western Conference. So, 56 points for San Diego, 51 points for Minnesota. Obviously, Minnesota kind of losing a key player in Oluwase. Losing him, obviously going to be difficult for them to kind of bounce back from that trade. But, it is what it is. The ball keeps rolling. But number 1 versus number 2 going to be exciting for the Western Conference. If Minnesota can pull this out, San Diego is going to have a tough time with that Community Shield race with Philly. But this San Diego team has just been lights out, dude. They've just been balling. They've been cruising. They've been doing what they got to do to win. And I don't know. I'm excited to see this one. 8:30 game, very very end of the Saturday slot. So I'm excited for this one, man. It should be fun.
Yeah. That'll be a good game. Who has San Diego lost the game? How many games have they lost? Like, how many games have they lost this season? Like, just San Diego in general.
Yeah, they've lost games. But Yeah, they've lost a
Oh,
few. I don't know what their
Toronto,
record
okay.
is, but
Yeah, that's what I was
they've lost
kind of
to
wanting to see.
Toronto, Houston.
But
That was a weird. They lost to RSL. That was
whoa,
so
RSL.
yeah, they've lost some games for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, this will be a good game. I did want to point out, obviously, you said the Charlotte is trying to get their win streak going against Inter Miami. I'll be interested in that game to see how it goes because no Suarez. They play Saturday, and then I don't know if you guys noticed, but on Tuesday they have a rematch against the Sounders. So it's going to be an interesting week because they go Saturday off, Sunday, Monday, back into it on Tuesday against the Sounders. So,
Yeah.
I wonder how many games Messi will play, if any, because I believe he played both of the games for Argentina. So it's not like he had time off. So I'll be interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and see. We will see. We'll go ahead and post our picks for this upcoming weekend. We'll let you guys know kind of what we're looking at in terms of those, as well as our score lines for this upcoming weekend. But that is it. That is everything that we have for today's episode for the Crack Soccer Podcast, episode number 30. Final thoughts, fellas? Anything before we break here?
Don't do it, Messi. Don't do it. Keep playing for another 10 years, I believe. But no, shout out to all the people that have been watching. The TikToks, the YouTube, subscribing. Let's get some more of you guys subscribing. Everybody that's watching, even if you only watch the first 3 minutes of the podcast, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. But shout out to y'all.
Yeah, no, check us out. If you like what you see, comment below. If there's more you want us to cover, let us know. If you're new to soccer and you're finding this podcast to try and learn a little bit more about what's going on there in the world, in the soccer world, give us a follow, drop some comments about what you want to learn about, and we'll try to meet you there. But that's all. See you next week.
Solid. All right, fellas. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Again, this has been the Crack Soccer Podcast, episode number 30. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Drop us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Peace.